We are 22S Radio, the next wave of K-Beats. 22S Radio is 22smedia.com and 88.1 FM KKJZ HD3 Long Beach, Los Angeles. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to the Golden Spotlight. Now, I'm Rob Flores, and today is a continuation of an experiment that I've incorporated in the Golden Spotlight, where occasionally I step back as host and have my guest host for the takeover edition. So at this time, I would like the guest host to start it off.
All right, thanks, Rob. Once again, my name is Ethan, and I'm joined with Gerard Cole. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing awesome, actually.
Thanks for coming by here in Long Beach.
Flores.
How's your week so far? It's just started.
Just starting, but it's off to a good start. I went to the gym already today, did some laundry, so pretty productive already, it seems.
More productive than me, that's for sure. Yeah, I need to start working out. So anyways, I mean, you're a comedian, correct?
I am.
So I kind of just want to start, I guess, from the beginning, early life.
Early.
What was it like growing up, I guess? Did you grow up here in California?
No, I grew up in Boston.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, like actual Boston, Brookline, Cambridge areas where my dad was. And then a little bit of outside of Boston for a little bit. I went to a private school in Lynn. They actually say Lynn, the city of sin. You never get out the way you come in. But it was a good time. And when I was 13, we actually moved to Maryland on the East Coast as well. So I went to high school and college in Maryland. And I've always just been like that goofy kid in school. I didn't actually ever think I was funny, but I was very talkative. Like, all good grades, but comments from teachers, like, always interrupts, always talks too much.
Cool.
Yeah.
So Boston, what's Boston like?
Boston, I love it. It's so historical, lots of big buildings. I mean, it's so weird, it's been so long, but one of my biggest, the best memories I have in Boston was actually going sailing on the Charles River, which a lot of people don't think of Boston as like a place you would go sailing or like boating, but it was a huge community, and it was actually really cool for kids. Every summer they would let you go sailing and rent boats and kayaks and all this stuff for only $1 for the whole summer. So you get to go in the morning at like 8 or whatever it was until pretty much dark, or if the winds were too bad, until the winds got bad. But you paid $1 for the whole summer to just go out, hang out with your friends, and take boats out. I actually crashed into a boat once and got a bumper. I literally put a hole in a boat. It was
That's
yeah.
Story.
Well, that's why you probably shouldn't let kids take out boats sometimes.
And so you said you moved to Maryland when you were 13.
Yeah.
So you left family.
Yeah, family, friends. I actually went to a small private school. So there's about 300 to 400 kids in the school at that time, and so those kids in my grade were my best friends. But my mom got this really good job opportunity, opened up a business in Maryland. I think that was when she bought her first house as well. So it was actually a really amazing opportunity. Of course, being a kid, I was really I was PO'd. I didn't want to move. I'm leaving my best friends, people I knew for 8, 9, 10 years, pretty much my whole life.
Wow. Before we continue, we are currently on You Now with the hashtag Ask Questions. And we are on Live Me, correct?
Not yet. Right now I'm just getting clips to do an Instagram gallery post.
Awesome. And of course, you can find all these videos, the Golden Spotlight, on YouTube. Just search up the Golden Spotlight or go to Rob's YouTube page. Always forget the social media stuff.
RobFloresMedia.com.
It's such an important thing, social media right now.
Absolutely. I mean, I was actually going through your Instagram page.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. Speaking of social media,
Oh my goodness.
you can find everyone these days.
For sure.
And you're also a dancer.
Yeah.
So did that start when you were young too? Or?
I love that that's being brought up.
I know.
I actually, on my Instagram, it says a wannabe dancer. Because I'm still just learning.
Okay.
I've always, it's so funny that you ask as a kid. I never took any dance classes or any dance instructions as a kid. I've always just grown up a lot in music. My dad was in the entertainment industry for a little bit. He was a DJ as well. So I just grew up around music, so naturally just dancing and making a fool of myself. But I remember I was at a wedding, and I was very young as a kid, and I was just going off and dancing with like so many different family members, people I never met. And so that memory really sticks out because like everybody was like, oh, he's so good. But I never did anything with it. It was only until I believe, last year I, on a whim, decided to take a hip hop dance class at my gym just because I was getting tired of cardio. Yeah. So I was like, let me try and do something a little different. And honestly, for the first time in that class, I felt like I did not know how to dance. I didn't know where my left foot, my right foot, my arm, like it was a hot mess. But for the last year, I've just been keeping up with the beginner classes. I'm in kind of like an intermediate, like advanced class now, but I'm still trying to keep up with like actual dancers. That's why I say I'm a wannabe dancer, because like people there have like 8-9 years of experience, and I'm just diving in.
It's been about a year, you said.
Yeah, about a year and a couple months now, actually.
Nice. And so you mentioned being in a private school. What was that? How is that different? I don't know if you've been to a public school.
Yeah, actually, when I moved to Maryland, I went to a public middle school for like 3 months, and then went to high school, all 4 years public high school.
Okay, so what was kind of the difference for like public and private? Is there really much of a difference, or?
You know what? Like, one of the things I want to say is the difference. There is no difference in more so like the people. Like, I think you just find genuinely good people at both places. You know, I think there's a stigma, especially when you talk about public school, like maybe it's like grungy or there's a lot of like fights or not taken care of. And honestly, I have some of the best memories also from public school, some of the best from private school. I've had some great friends at both. I think one of the things that sticks out the most is private school definitely had a little bit more resources, you know, like there was enough books for everyone, people didn't have to buy so much, you know, I would say that. And so if I would say anything, like I would say make sure people are taking care of like teachers in public schools, making sure that donating, like volunteering, whatever, just because it's so needed. But I mean, I also was very privileged to go to a public school that didn't have much controversy. It was kind of considered the worst school in my county at that time. It was Edgewood High School. I don't know if I should or should not say that. Yeah, exactly. But honestly, I felt safe. I felt comfortable. I will say, like, this is kind of funny for me. I've always felt a little bit like of an outcast in some ways, just because I've always fit in so many different boxes that I never really felt like I'm loud, I'm obnoxious sometimes, but I'm very studious, and so like I've been the nerd, I did sports, I did theater, so there's all of that. And one of the greatest things that I will say that I enjoyed more from public school was there was more activities. Like I wasn't experienced to that in private school. It was very kind of sheltered and catered to certain things. But when I went to public school, I mean, we had a swimming pool, so there was like that. We had a planetarium there, actually. And I was like, man, I went from a private school to a public school, but we have a swimming pool, we have a planetarium, we did archery. You know, there were so many cool things that so many different memories.
Wow. Yeah, you mentioned sports. What sports did you play?
I played all through like elementary to high school. I played various sports. I've probably done a little bit of everything. Wow. My favorite was baseball. I'm still a huge baseball fan as far as playing. I only like going to games just for the social environment. But I did football, I did track and field. I even, if you guys can't see me, but it doesn't look like I'm a runner, but I did a 4x4 in a track meet once. I did shot put discus. Let me see. I played basketball as a kid, but I'm honestly not. Basketball's not my thing. Yeah. Not all black people can play basketball.
And then theater. So you've acted.
I've acted, I acted in school. I still do a little bit of acting, but just more like just random stuff in commercials, kind of. Oh, nice. But I remember my first play was MASH in 12th grade, actually. Because before then, I was more of trying to I wanted to do more of the back end. I never had the confidence to be on stage.
So like the behind the scenes.
Yeah, exactly. But I took a drama class instead of an art class, like a painting or drawing.
Right.
And I just fell in love with it, and my teacher really kind of pushed me into it. Mrs. St. Clair, shout out to you. And from there, I kind of felt like that was the first time I really felt connected to, like, I wanted to do something kind of entertainment-esque. I never thought I wanted to do acting. It was just felt really fun and enjoyable.
Yeah. Was there, you mentioned you wanted to kind of be in the entertainment business. Was that something you always wanted to do, or did that come up later?
It came up so much later. Like, I got a taste and a glimpse of it when I started doing my drama and theater classes.
Okay.
But I actually went to college for accounting.
Oh.
So, and I tutored accounting too. So it was so far from entertainment. Maybe I'll count entertainers' money, but
right.
Yeah. But it was in the middle of school. It was second semester of my sophomore year. We were going over the syllabus of what we're gonna do, and I realized, like, wow, I don't want to do any of this. I just don't, and I couldn't imagine doing it for 40 years. You know, you think about those kind of things as far as a career, and I always loved writing and journalism and kind of like computer design stuff. So I kind of naturally just fell into communications and journalism as my fallback, and that's kind of where I was like, wow, this is definitely something that can take me more into the entertainment world in this way. Yeah.
Well, I'm a journalism major too.
Yeah.
And Rob's in radio.
Yeah.
So
here we are.
Nice connection here.
Yeah, exactly.
So should we? Not yet.
First commercial break?
Yeah, let's do it right now. We'll be right back after this commercial break, and we'll talk more with your college life, I guess.
Sure, let's do it. How is it so far?
Oh, it's great.
Okay.
You're giving me a lot for.
Oh, goodness.
Great.
Okay, good. Oh my gosh. How long do you guys do commercial breaks?
It's just a few seconds. I do.
That's
So I do
That's a minute.
about 3 commercials. So
Okay.
In 2 segments.
Okay.
I'm like so nervous.
you're
I've
great.
never like talked about myself this much.
Smorgasbord is back Friday, August 24th.
That's a
Starting
good
from
question
7
about
p.m.
the
we'll
public
have
and
parking
private
lot
school,
E2
because there is
decked
such a
out,
like
carnival
Yeah.
rides,
stigma
music
about.
inflatables,
But I really
great
love my
music, and
public
awesome
school
games.
experience just as much as my private. Like, that's one put one over another.
Yeah. You said your public school had archery and all?
Oh,
Yeah, I remember my
Visual
first gym class. We were learning archery, and I was like, "This is the best school
I never
ever."
heard of public school having that.
Yeah, and we were in middle school at the time. Like, yeah,
So make sure
but it
to
was
be there.
super cool.
Don't miss out on the best smorgasbord yet. For more information, go to ASI.
I don't know if you should really like kids with bows.
Go be.
So I don't know if you really should like kids with bows and arrows,
Oh.
but it worked. They were like, it wasn't like dangerous bows.
Yeah.
Is this what you think French music is? Just accordions and waltz?
I
Or
gotta
you walk?
They added this now.
My name is
This is
Ricardo
the upcoming event.
aka
Okay.
Francois, and I'm your host along with my lovely co-host Selene Castaneda,
This is like
aka
worship, so I don't know what
Like a
that
reader.
is.
Yeah, Francois
so.
sur la
I just barely saw that
radio.
today.
Bringing you SoCal, CSULB, and 22S Radio, all French or French themed music, the good, the bad, the old, and the new, as well as info on CSULB's French Club and anything related to the French culture. Join us for un temps inoubliable, or an unforgettable time, and tune in every Tuesday from 9 to 10 p.m. A plus, mes chers amis, bonsoir et au revoir. Yours truly, Francois.
Arts, crafts, and music. Back to the Beach Week. USU Southwest Terrace, August 27th through the 31st. Monday, 12 to 1, DIY tie-dye bandana bar and karaoke. Tuesday, 12 to 1, mini canvas painting and mocktails. Wednesday, 12 to 1, stay cool and sparkle with live DJ. Thursday, 12 to 1, DIY buttons and beach treats. And Friday, 12 to 1, message in a bottle. 22 West Radio broadcasting live all week, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And we're back with the Golden Spotlight. I am your guest host, Ethan. Thanks once again, Rob, for letting me guest host. And of course, I'm joined by Mr. Gerard Cole.
Hello, hello.
And as always, we are on you now with the hashtag Ask Questions. And we're not on live meeting yet.
This is Snap now.
Now we're on Snapchat. Awesome. Cool. I'll see
Everybody's on social media now.
Yeah, absolutely. As you mentioned, I was looking at your Instagram page, so
Yes.
you can just find everyone there. As always, youtube.com, and just search up the Golden Spotlight or Rob Flores Media to find all these episodes here, including this one later this week. And so we were talking about college and how you kind of had a journalism background a bit. So how was your college experience like overall, I guess?
College, oh my goodness, so many different experiences. It was one of the best, and I don't even want to say worst times ever, but it was like, I think we're all for a lot of people can relate to it. It's lots of studying, lots of trying to figure out the whole social world as well, and kind of, it's kind of keeping track on all of it. For me, college was like, I worked a lot through college. I had scholarships, grants, I worked. So I was really lucky in that aspect, that I didn't leave with a lot of student loans. But college for me was definitely, like, I wasted a lot of time, like, doing the whole, partying and all that kind of stuff. I remember, it was actually a really funny story, I don't know if I should say, but I was actually I was going to be an RA, a resident assistant in college. And I had just gotten the job, and my friend downstairs had invited me to this party, and I didn't want to go, and because I was like, I don't want to lose my job and all this stuff. Right. And I ended up going, of course, because that's college. And of course the party got busted, and I was like freaking out. And we were on the second story of the building, but he had a balcony. And I'm kind of a big dude, and the windows don't always open, all the way. So I had to like shimmy out this small thing, and I jumped from the second story balcony, and like it was just kind of crazy. But I ended up never getting caught. But I did turn myself in because I have such a guilty conscience. I was like, guys, I really want this job, but just so you know, I was at this party.
Can you say which college?
Stevenson University.
Okay, so that's, you said Maryland, right?
In Maryland, yeah. Owings Mills, Maryland, Baltimore County. But, once again, going on to, I went to school for accounting, so that was very, it was a pretty tough major at first. And even though I tutored it in high school, going into college, it was so different. So a lot of time went into studying. So I really tried to do the whole balance, but I was on the journalism team in my college, so I wrote for the newspaper, I worked for student government, did all of that.
Any kind of issues you ever have, like with interviews or any stuff like that?
The biggest issue I had on campus was probably this normal roommate stuff.
Okay.
I had a roommate one time that just didn't clean, didn't do anything, and it got to the point where I feel so bad. I snitched. I went to student government, and I went to the residential offices, and I took pictures, and I was like, this is, I had a full file.
I mean, it's your space too.
Yeah, so. And they wouldn't move us, because, there was so much, there was just so much need for student housing, so it was really hard to switch roommates. And I was like, I built a case.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah.
You were in student government too.
Yeah, I was freshman and sophomore class president in college, and I used to do college tours to the freshmen. I was even part of, I don't remember what it was called, but I used to house incoming freshmen. So if you were a high school senior, you could come to the school and sleep over and shadow me to my classes and stuff like that. So I used to do that, and I did it actually the year before as a high school student.
Oh, okay.
So I remember the two guys that I stayed with, and honestly they were the coolest people to me at the time. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm going. So I wanted to be a part of it, and that was awesome, cool.
Awesome. Well, we have some tours happening that have been happening for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I saw that.
So we can relate. jobs? You mentioned you worked a lot.
I worked a serving job, nothing really fancy or good. I was at the Cheesecake Factory and Famous Dave's Barbecue.
Nice.
But it was like both of them were right kind of across the street from school, so but it was
nearby.
yeah, and honestly it was the most money I'd ever made at the time. Like I was like, man, I don't know if I even want to stay in school. I'll just serve. No, not at all. But.
No, I'm not sure it wasn't a great experience.
No, I mean people were really crappy. I would say if I could make a special announcement, be nice to your servers, tip well. We're going through just as much as hell as you guys probably not even imagining.
Absolutely. And so, when did you graduate college?
I actually didn't. I dropped out my junior year.
Oh.
That was, yeah.
That's a story.
It is. It wasn't anything fancy, but it was
Yeah.
to the point where, like I said, I was working a lot, and it got to a point where I was like, I wanted to pay attention either on my grades or working. And long story short, I was just in this place in life that I really felt like I was just ready to go. I was ready to just go make it happen out in the world in some way. And I just wanted to do that. So pretty much I left Stevens University, went to a community college to finish my gen eds, because my goal was always to finish school.
Right.
So I wanted to finish that. And once again, long story short, I bought a car, it broke down, and instead of buying a new car, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to move to LA. I'm going to move to California and make it happen. There's lots of other things in between that, but it was just a decision I wanted to make. It was between New York or LA.
Right.
My dad's from New York. I have friends and family there, so I know the hustle and the grind, and I wanted something different. I wanted to be the abnormal one in the family. I'm always that guy. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go across the country and make it work. And I didn't know what I wanted to do just yet, but my idea was that I actually really wanted to be a music journalist. Like I wanted to like maybe do a blog website or something on like just listen to music and writing about it and talking about artists and stuff like that. Music, once again, like I said, I grew up a lot with it, so it was always kind of like that area.
Did you grow up with siblings?
I'm the only child.
Me too.
I am the only child. Well, I grew up with my mom.
Right.
My mom is a single mom, so I'm her only son. My dad does have 3 other kids. I'm closest with my sister, who's a year and a half younger.
Okay.
She actually just got her master's degree from BU. Yeah, so she's doing really good things. Yeah.
So, when you decided to come over to LA, was there any like, did your mom or dad ever say like,
what am I doing?
Yeah, what are you doing?
Don't
You're
go.
going across the country.
Lots of that. I think my dad was always really supportive in that front. I think like my dad was a hustler when he was a kid. He grew up in a foster home and stuff like that, so he's definitely been like a fighter, go-getter, did real estate. He's managing my cousins who also are in the music industry. They were actually on America's Got Talent a few years ago. So he's always just been like, chase your dreams. My mom has always been chase your dreams too, but be very close to home while you do it.
Yeah.
So she was very, very, like just don't go or wait. She was always waiting, saying to wait. And I thought about moving to LA for so long that I just really didn't want to wait. And as much as I remember crying on the plane ride, literally all the way over to LAX. And I will still say it's been the best decision I've ever made.
Nice.
Yeah.
When did you come over to LA?
2001 or 2011. I moved here exactly a week after my 21st birthday.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
I figured I would want to celebrate my 21st with my friends, and probably living in LA before I was 21 wouldn't be too fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly a week after.
Nice. So you've been here for 7 years or so?
7 years, going on 7 years.
Nice.
I feel so old.
Comedy. How did that?
How did that happen?
Yeah, how did
Oh
that
my
start?
goodness. It's kind of all a jumble of things. I think Oh my goodness. So when I had gotten my first writing job, and it was super awesome. I still love it. I missed it. But it just didn't feel rewarding in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a friend that was doing stand-up at the time, like for years. And in 2013, I asked him, I said I wanted to do an open mic with him. And I just said it because I was talking. I never meant it. Well, I did mean it, but I just never meant it in the time frame he thought I meant it. And so he bugged me to do it. And it took me until 2014 to do an open mic. And honestly, it went really well. And that for me was just kind of like, oh, good, I did it. Boom, off my bucket list, move on. But he invited me to a podcast, and the podcast was about comedians and comedy culture in LA. And he thought it would be really cool because I just did my first open mic, so I'd be like a fresh perspective. So I went on kind of a similar setup like this. We're talking, everybody, it's at the end of it, everybody's doing their plugs for their next show or like gimmick, whatever they do. And I was just like, I don't do any, I'm just here. But my friend at the time, he said, Gerard doesn't know this, but he's going to do a show with me at such and such place at such and such time. And I was pissed. Because I was like, no, he's not. Like, I don't know what he's talking about. I didn't sign up for that.
Right.
But honestly, I did it just because, like, I wanted to challenge myself. And I should have saved the date, but I don't remember that date. But it was in 2014, and I just never stopped. I just kept going, and the first year or two, I did shows and open mics like maybe every other 2 or 3 months, just because it took me like that length of time to get the guts to do it. And now I produce my own show every other week, and I'm doing shows every weekend almost. Like I'm out there.
Awesome. I'm going to backtrack a little bit.
Go for it.
Your transition to LA.
Yeah.
How did you get settled in, I guess?
That's another story as well. Well, what I didn't say at the time, and I had left serving and all that, and I had worked for a Starbucks.
Okay.
And the Starbucks that I worked at was so... it was very homey. It was in my hometown, so a lot of our regulars were like friends. Like we would go to like Chai Tea Lisa's like party or like tall coffee Susan's like whatever. And I was talking to a regular, excuse me, and he had saw something in me, and he actually told me he thought that I would be really good for radio. And he's the one that really kind of like, you're young, you should go travel, go to LA, New York, all this stuff, see what you really want to do. And in that time span, we had a new employee come in to Starbucks. They transferred locations. Okay. And I was like, oh, wow, I didn't know you could transfer locations. And so I did my research, and I was like, maybe I'll transfer locations just across the country. Yeah. So I went to my manager, and I was like, I looked up stores, and I had a good record and all that stuff. So I told her I wanted to transfer locations. She asked where. I said, California. She's like, what? And I was like, yeah. And so I transferred stores to LA. And that was like my kind of how I had a job when I first was here. Because I didn't really know many people, I was on like Craigslist looking for roommates, but I was really picky. I was like, we have to Skype and I have to check you out on Facebook and stuff, make sure you're not going to kill me. And so...
Especially in LA.
In LA, of all places. Careful, oh my goodness. And I had some very interesting Skype interviews with people. One guy showed up to the interview naked, and I was like, okay, so we're not
That's
roommates.
a definite. probably a no there.
Yeah.
Which Starbucks? Can you say which Starbucks you transferred
to? I guess. I don't know. I've left the company, so whatever. It was a Starbucks in downtown LA in the Wells Fargo's building.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I know what it's like. Nice. And so you were able to obviously find an apartment.
I found an apartment, roommates. I was sharing a 2-bedroom with 4 people at the time. Yeah, we were all kind of in school, just had moved. They were in the New York Film Academy, so they were
Oh, okay.
they were kind of my first experience with like the industry, because I had never, like I said, I moved out here, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do.
Right.
But seeing them going on film projects and using the apartment for filming all the time kind of like really intrigued me and got me. I was like, wow, I really kind of, maybe not so much more music, but some area in acting or film or whatever.
Nice. And so, what was your, I guess, after Starbucks, what was your next job?
My next job was a crappy call center job,
Oh,
but that lasted only very long, or didn't last very long. I left there after like a month and a half to work at a coffee shop that I ended up managing, but then I left that, and that's when I was doing the writing job.
okay.
And all of this happened within like 6 or 7 months of each other, so it was like a lot.
Yeah.
And I had, yeah. I applied for a radio station job actually at one point too.
Really?
Yeah.
Was there a specific one?
I don't remember, but I didn't
Okay.
get it, so.
They're all like in Burbank, pretty much.
Yeah, in
Most
that
of them
area
are,
for
yeah.
sure.
You mentioned you had theater roommates.
Mhm.
So, did you ever like go to any shows or anything like that?
No, I was with my first set of roommates, I think I was still so shy, and
Mhm.
I had just actually, like, I was just still trying to figure out my bearings here.
Mhm.
So, and they were so busy, I was so busy, so we actually really missed each other a lot.
Okay.
But I moved out of that apartment to live with a classmate that I met in a music class.
Mhm. So
And
you just took a class, or was it a school?
I went to school.
Okay.
I went to LACC for a little bit to
Okay.
kind of finish up some gen eds as
Okay.
well, and just like I said, I've always been really into school. Even though
Right.
I dropped out of college, I love learning. I love classes, so I immediately just enrolled. And once again, I think that was the best decision, because meeting Mikel Monleon was like this transcend of my life. Like I've been best friends with all of these groups of people because of him, and that living situation was my favorite, and we've just remained kept in touch since then. And that's when I brought this up, because that's when I started going to shows. When
Right.
I moved in with him, and we became so close. We were always going out, and never did any comedy shows yet at this time though. But.
Yeah, okay. All right, so I think we're going to take our next commercial break, and after the break, we're going to talk a little more with Gerard Cole.
Awesome.
Did you know that 71% of
doozy.
students at Long
Yeah.
State receive financial aid?
We got 20 more minutes after this, so.
2016,
So-
Long Beach State awarded $12.3 million in scholarships.
Are you on
Not only that,
social media right now, too?
each year,
Yeah,
more
I
than
just,
15
I was doing the
students
live.
provide
Oh, okay,
stable
cool.
student services, leaving no barriers in their
Is anybody
path to
watching?
education.
Yeah, I had 9
At the beach,
viewers.
we know no barriers. It's a philosophy that applies to everything we do.
So doing Snapchat or whatever? What do you want?
I'm switching back and forth.
Oh,
One in
okay.
5 students on CSU
No,
campuses
live.
experience food insecurity while in
Any
college,
questions?
according to a study commissioned by
Let's keep on
CSU
walking.
Chancellor Timothy White. The
Yeah, you know, we
Associate Student
just-
Speech
we normally
Pantry
just get
operates as an
people watching,
official
right?
food pantry
Yeah, they
for
start
Long Beach
clicking
State students.
hearts and
The
stuff.
pantry
Oh, okay.
provides
And then live me is
non-perishable
usually
food
where we
items
get a
for
couple
students in need.
people.
Also housed in the
I've
beach
never even
pantry
heard of these
is the
things. You guys are
student
teaching
swap
me
shop
live me
program,
and you
aimed
now.
at providing
now I've
students with
heard.
an opportunity
Yeah. I
started off with
to swap
Busker.
unneeded or old
Busker?
food.
Yeah.
The
Don't even
student
Buskers
beach
where I
pantry
all
exists
sit
on
and
the
saw
generous
comedians. She was
donations
making
of
jokes in her
students,
car by
staff,
herself.
Oh, wow. There you
and
go.
corporate givers. To donate,
And
visit
then like 2 years later, she was on
ASICSULB.org
the show over
and
there,
search beach
and then here, Ethan interviewed her.
Oh, Jacqueline.
Yeah.
Quiet on the set. Can we please have
Play
quiet
your
on the
own
set?
commercial
Yeah.
for this show. That's fine.
Hey, I'm Rob Flores, the host of
Do I
the
need to read
Golden
this again?
Are we
Spotlight.
back?
Join me as I showcase
no,
a
no,
variety of
Is it-
guests.
He's playing a commercial for this show.
Hi, I'm Carla Perez, otherwise known as Rita Repulsa, my Morphin Power Rangers, a television series.
As people have told me
You know,
before,
I got an email.
like, you're really funny,
about
you
the
should try
roles that we gotta
stand-up.
submit.
And that's probably
Yes.
how every comedian starts.
How you doing?
Took an EMT course 6 months later, and the next thing I know, I'm a firefighter.
And I do all my music videos, I edit my music videos,
You know,
I
that's-
write the concepts for the most part, I
Am I doing
write
this
the,
again?
the filming of it, etc. So I have a blast with it.
Every week, someone steps into
Well,
the
it's only one more
spotlight,
question.
and it's
I'll
always a
do this
new
one.
story. So join me every Monday at 2 p.m. on 22 West Radio.
the show that's
You
after
never know
this.
what we
I
have in
usually-
store.
Classic hits. Some of these shows I never heard.
Recapturing those songs that used to sound so good on the radio. All the classic
How long have you guys been doing the show?
Even Richard Stevens with a mega variety of classic hits. And there are thousands of songs to choose from.
2 years?
2 years.
Well, this year is the first year we're doing it here. Oh, we're doing it here. The interview?
Yeah, the interviews. I started off interviews with since 2011.
Oh wow.
Arts, crafts, and music. Back to the Beach Week. USU Southwest Terrence, August 21st to the 31st. Excuse me, August 27th to the 31st. Monday, 12 to 1 p.m. DIY, tie-dye, bandana bar, and karaoke. Tuesday, 12 to 1, mini canvas painting and mocktails. Wednesday, 12 to 1, stay cool and sparkle with live DJ. Thursday, 12 to 1, DIY buttons and beach trees. Friday, 12 to 1, a message in the bottle. 22 West Radio broadcasting live all week from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Back to the Beach Week. And we're back with the Golden Spotlight. I am your guest host, Ethan. Once again, thanks to Rob for letting me guest host and take over. We are currently on YouNow with the hashtag AskQuestions, and we are always on YouTube, youtube.com/RobFloresMedia. Just search up the Golden Spotlight there. A quick plug for our show, Thursday Beyond the Ropes, which is at 10 a.m., where we're going to continue our little draft that we have and give more news on that.
Ethan stole a couple of wrestlers I wanted on my show.
Yeah, that's been ongoing. So, a big week for wrestling, so we'll talk more about that. Make sure to tune in Thursday at 10 a.m. here on 22 West Radio. I'm joined with Gerard Cole, and we were talking about your college life and your transition to Los Angeles. You're currently in Los Angeles, right?
Yes.
Okay. And we mentioned comedy and how you kind of got pushed in there almost.
Yeah, definitely pushed.
And so you've been doing it consistently for 3 years?
4 going on 5 now, yeah.
Nice. And I saw on your Instagram that you actually performed at the Laugh Factory.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a big deal.
Yeah.
A lot of big people there.
Last year was an amazing year for me in that regard. I got to perform at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood and the Laugh Factory in Long Beach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it was, those were the best shows. Like, I still, they give me tingles. I remember the Hollywood one was really awesome because I went on the first date, but I ended up dating that person for a little bit. So I was like, man, they really loved my comedy. They stayed after.
Yeah.
But so that was really awesome, and it was my first time on stage at the Laugh Factory, so that was just such a huge, memorable moment. And then the Laugh Factory was also really huge for me just because the stage is just so huge. There's a tour and they're watching us.
Hey. I think there's a SOAR tour going on. So there we go.
But the Laugh Factory in Long Beach, the stage, I remember walking in and that stage was I was so nervous. I was just it felt like I was going to do a show for thousands of people.
Really? Was it bigger than Hollywood?
It was bigger than the Hollywood stage. Okay. So I was very just wow. And I remember just going out there and I killed it. It was really awesome. I remember the host even was like, oh man, we should give him more time and all that stuff. I was like, oh my God.
How many minutes did you get?
I only got 5.
You gotta start somewhere.
Exactly.
Right? So.
And I was a newbie at the Laugh Factory, so that's kind of everything in this industry. You kind of have to work, there's...
You gotta work your way up.
You gotta work your way up, yeah. So that was kind of that.
And so now, how long are your shows now typically?
It depends. A lot of times I get anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. The most that I've done is around 22.
Okay.
Still
a lot of time.
Yeah, those are definitely a lot of time. And it's always as a comedian, you definitely want the more time the better. And then there's certain times where, I've definitely left stage early just because I'm I want to leave on a high note and they really love me. So I'm oh, this is my time to just get out.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned you were producing your own shows. Correct?
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that.
Oh my goodness! So it's been such a blessing. So I've been very blessed to be doing comedy for only 4, like I said, going on 5 years now, and for me, one of the things that I've just been so blessed with is I've always had lots of friends or family that have just been huge supporters, and as people get to know me, they also want to get to know my comedy. So like I've always been really good at having a following, if you will, and I feel so weird saying that because a lot of them are friends and family.
Right.
So but you know, they come out and they support me and they love me, so it's great. And there was a point in my just like career life last year that I was like, you know, I'm losing a little bit of money by always like just having all these people come in, and you know, it's really hard to make money in entertainment and stand up. A lot of people think it's so glamorous a lot of times, and it's not always what it's cracked up to be. But I just realized, you know, one of the next steps for me was to really start kind of doing my own shows, because I have so many people that come anyways. And the last year I just spent a lot of time hustling for the right venue and spot, Long story short, I now produce my own show every other Thursdays in Hollywood at Sal's Comedy Hall on Melrose in Hollywood. And yeah, it's just been such a blessing to kind of get that going. I won't always say it's a blessing because it is so stressful as well sometimes. Getting comedians all together, getting to show up on time, getting people to show up on time for shows, buying tickets, setting up like all that really cool stuff. But I did it, and it's happening, and it really is a huge like blessing and love for me.
So it's straight stand-up all the way, right?
Yeah, it's a stand-up comedy show, so I usually open it up and host it. So like I said, I open it up, I host, I bring out other comics, I have a DJ. Yeah, it's a really fun time, and honestly, I'm still new at like doing my own show, so there's a lot of things I want to like still bring in and kind of revamp. But for me, it was a way to really, I wanted to bring community to comedy. I think a lot of comedians are kind of on their own hustle and grind, and I really love getting to know people and being connected. So I wanted my show to be a space where comedians can also get to mingle with other comedians. It feels more family-oriented, more community. So it's like really more empowering rather than just like showing up for just another show.
Right. And so I'm not familiar with your comedy. So what kind of like comedy is your style?
Oh my God. Nothing is off the table for me in my comedy, which is also a good thing and not so good.
it can work both ways.
Yeah.
I can see that.
I talk about my family. I talk about like work, life, dating. I haven't talked much about presidential and politics very much lately. It's a very it's not as funny as it used to be.
Especially when everyone does it, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
It's also kind of
I remember I had this one particular joke that's not so clean for radio right now.
Yeah.
And it was a great joke. It was a great joke, and the very first show after elections, I did that joke, and it was silent. I was like, all right, so that joke is tabled. Yeah.
Maybe we'll hear that joke after we're...
Yeah, maybe.
So you said anything, dating.
Dating, all that stuff. Which, for people I date, probably not so good.
Are you single right now?
I'm very single right now. So, very single.
So no one right now?
No one right now.
And you mentioned family, so how does your family react to that?
It depends. Well, let me say this. But both parents are very supportive and very, as long as I'm happy, they're happy.
Right.
I will say I grew up fairly religious and very, I was just very religious. My private school was a Christian school. So I definitely grew up with a set of morals that sometimes my comedy doesn't always suggest. So I think that's when my parents kind of get oh, Gerard, if you could stay away from certain things.
And something that I was told by Rob was that you were on The Price is Right?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I was
Yeah.
on The Price is Right. I
I'd
was.
love to hear that.
That was a good story as well. It was just
Got
such
more of
a
an audience.
yeah.
Oh, hello. All right.
It was. I feel like if I can preach about anything, is always take those. If you want to do something, just go out and do it.
Mhm.
You know, I grew up watching The Price is Right, like on snow days on the East Coast. We have those, and it was a normal day at work, and I had a good friend coming into town to visit me from the East Coast. He was my high school best friend, Tristan Comper. Still talk to me every day. Love you, dude. And he was coming to visit me into town, and my boss we were talking freely. We were good friends, and she said, "Oh, by the way, I have tickets to The Price is Right." And she casually said it to the store. Does anybody want them? Because I'm too shy. I don't want to go. And I was like, oh my God, of course. Like, I would love to go to The Price is Right. My best friend's coming to town. Like, I can take him. It was like, it's going to be awesome. And so we got the tickets. Best friend came to town. We go. We're in line. And we're talking to people. We're talking to each other. We're just having a good time. And we're sitting down watching the show, all of this stuff, and then my name gets called. And it's so funny because I thought I would be like so suave and cool. I'm like, oh, okay, like, thank you. Like, and I screamed. I was like, oh my God. I was like,
like everyone else on TV.
Like everyone else on TV. Like, it was such an ordeal. And then, quite frankly, I remember going up on stage on the block, they call it, I think, and I was the last person to say my number. The 3 other people went before me, and I don't remember what the number was, but I was like, I have to say $1 more. I was gonna be that guy, and I was like, but I know if I do it, I'm gonna win. Like, so I was like, and the lady I met in line too, so I went over and I was like, I'm so sorry, and I was like, 801. And then they said the price, and I got picked, and I was like, oh my God. So I won $1,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And my best friend and I got to experience that, and literally it's still one of my favorite LA experiences. But it wasn't planned or it was such on a whim.
Out of the
just worked out. Yeah.
What game did you play?
I lost a game, but it was just literally a 50-50. It was the easiest thing you could do, and I just picked the wrong one. But I will say, this is probably not good for them, but it's kind of staged in a way. So what happened is I was supposed to bet or figure out the price of a trip to New York and a cruise and a hotel, and from the East Coast. So I kind of knew New York's really expensive, so I kind of knew a certain price, and I chose it right away. And then they stopped me and they're like, no, you have to wait for the audience to participate. And so they reset, they refilmed, and the audience is telling me to go a different way than the way I originally did. And I was so in the moment, I was like, all right, I'm going with the audience. And I went with the audience, and it was the wrong price. And I was so salty. Salty.
So it's pre-taped then?
It's pre-taped, yeah. The show I did, I remember I went in February, but it didn't air until May.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't know they shot it.
Yeah, and we weren't even allowed to tell. I put on Facebook, I was like, make sure you watch the 31st or whatever date it was, because you'll see me. But I wasn't allowed to say if I won or what I won or what happened. Yeah.
And so that was Drew Carey, right?
Drew Carey, yeah.
What was it like?
We all went Bob.
Legendary.
But no, it was awesome. It was really awesome. Drew was super fun. He's really great. I would put that out there.
Casey's listening.
Exactly. Can't piss off Drew Carey.
So, you won $1,000.
I won $1,000 that I didn't get for 5 months though. No, 3 months. It came 3 months later. Well, I basically certain prizes you're allowed to get the cash value, and I won technically 2 tablets, but I already had an iPad and stuff, so I was just like, hey, give me the grand, I'll be happy.
Okay, cool. And so when you spun the wheel, you spun the wheel.
Oh my God! Yeah, I spun the wheel, and this is the universe. Just karma's a bee. The lady who I bet the dollar more, she beat me by 10 cents on her third spin on the wheel, because I think we got the same number or something, but she had another spin, and it literally was about to be. I remember it was gonna be. It was like just on I can't even explain this on the radio, but it was like where the nozzle was or something.
Right.
Like it literally was like a gust of wind that blew it. Like it was like gonna be. I was gonna go to the freaking showcase, and that whatever happened. But I was like, I stole her prize. She can steal my showcase.
Yeah. So, at least you got the money.
Yeah, exactly. It was still a win-win.
So how long was the taping? Was it like?
It's like an hour or two. I don't really remember
So
at this
not that
point.
long.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to go back for 10 years.
Really?
Well, I can only be a audience member. I can't, they won't choose me for
How
another.
do they know? Do they obviously have to keep
I guess,
track of it?
yeah, for taxes and all
That's
that
a lot.
stuff. I had to pay taxes on the 1,000, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lot of behind the scenes stuff.
A lot of stuff happening over there. CBS Studios.
Yeah. So that was Burbank.
No, that was, right by the Grove in LA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, makes sense. All right, so we're getting into our last couple of minutes.
Okay.
Do you want to promote anything?
My next show, this 23rd, August 23rd, my show's actually called The Chamber of Comics. You can see that at Sal's Comedy Hole in Hollywood on Melrose.
It has a Harry Potter theme.
Yes, The Chamber of Comics is from Harry Potter. I'm such a Harry Potter nut.
Me too.
So yes. People think I'm like the Chamber of Commerce, and I'm like, no, I don't care about that. The Chamber of Comics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's this Thursday.
Yeah.
Where is that at?
This Thursday at Sal's Comedy Hall on Melrose in Hollywood.
What time?
At 8. That's a good question, right?
8 o'clock, yeah.
At 8.
So
some people show up late, but it is at 8.
Starts at 8.
Starts at 8.
So doors open at?
Stores open at 7:30.
All right, so
be
make
there.
sure everyone
good food
listening,
and good drinks.
Make sure to share that when we spread the social media word.
Yeah.
Any social media to promote?
Yes, all of it. Thank you guys. You guys are doing the work for me. I am Gerard Cole pretty much across the board. Twitter, Instagram. On Facebook, it's just kind of Gerard Cole. You can find me there. My comedy, like I said, is across the board. So I fit like a bunch of genres. I talk about everything. So I feel like everybody's pretty much welcomed.
Awesome. Are you going to be performing on Thursday? Or?
Yeah, like I said, I host and open up the show, so I'll be doing that. A really good friend of mine, Grant Cotter, will be on that show as well. You can see him on MTV. He was on MTV's Jerks with Cameras, a bunch of credits, so he's really funny. Check him out as well. It's a really good lineup. Like I said, I'm such a fan of all my comics that I book just because, I really do like building community, so
yeah.
I really care about them all.
Awesome. Any other projects in the work, or are you just right now just focusing on your show?
Focusing on the show, but I always have shows. You can actually check my website out, GerardColeComedy.com. Okay. I usually post anything that's coming up, so I might be in LA, sometimes I'm in San Diego, things like that. I just auditioned with Amazon, so maybe you'll see me in an Amazon commercial coming soon.
You've done
Not allowed to
commercials,
talk
right?
about that real quick.
You've done commercials?
Yeah.
Kind of?
A lot of them are super, you'll never have seen them, I promise.
Okay.
I'm just the guy in the back. Okay. Black guy number 3.
An extra?
Yeah.
Well, it's something. So.
Start somewhere, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right, well, a very jam-packed show, which is great. Thank you for sharing all that.
Thank you guys for having me.
As always, you'll find us on YouNow with the hashtag AskQuestions. You'll find us on there. YouTube.com/Rob Flores Media. You'll find the Golden Spotlight and Beyond the Ropes. Thursdays at 10 a.m., Beyond the Ropes, where Rob and I will host our wrestling show. We will continue our draft this Thursday, along with reviews of the past weekend's pay-per-views. And you can follow me on Twitter at EthanNV95 and Rob
Flores Media.
There we go. Of course, you mentioned I am Gerard Cole.
I am Gerard Cole on Instagram and Twitter.
Awesome. Facebook.com/Beyond the Ropes, before I forget to tune in there. And thank you for joining me and Gerard and Rob on the special takeover edition of the Golden Spotlight. So I'm signing off for us, correct? Awesome. Just making sure. Thank you for tuning in. I don't know what's your normal sign off, but I'm signing off saying goodbye, and make sure to stick around for the next show. And once again, thanks to my special guest, Gerard Cole.
Thank you guys for having me.
Have a great week.
Have a good one, guys.
See you Thursday.